I'd love to hear more about your whole butthole philosophy.
About the well-roundedness of your butthole.
Yeah, because I think it began because I asked you, was it just to describe your butthole?
Yeah, you asked me to describe.
Yeah, and it kind of led into like a philosophical discussion, honestly.
Well, it is. Your butthole actually has a lot of connections to your spiritual nature of yourself.
Yeah, I can see that. It's a big part of yourself.
It's huge.
It's huge.
I mean,
I think that's just yours. I think yours is just huge.
I mean, it depends. Like, your butthole honestly releases the most of your inner demons. You need to have a nice, clean, large butthole to be sure that you can... I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of the correct words.
It's okay. Take your time.
Exterminate, I guess you say, the demons inside you.
Well, see, that's getting into that's too spiritual for me, to be honest. Like I'm a little bit sort of atheist. I mean, I would say more agnostic just because I don't pretend to know. But I was more intrigued by what you said about the shape.
Yes, the shape of your butthole.
Yeah.
A round butthole, the rounder your butthole, I should say, really shows about how well-rounded of a person you are. I bounce so much in my life, I feel like I'm one of the most well-rounded people you'll ever meet.
And do you think that's...
And my butthole correlates.
Okay.
My butthole is extremely round.
But see, where's the correlation? Is your well-roundedness as a person a result of the roundness of your rectum? Is that what we're saying?
They go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. So
okay, so it's sort of like a chicken and egg scenario. Then.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Your butthole will naturally round the more.
Oh shit! Oh dude, we're recording. We should. So yeah, this is Hobo the Vet. I'm here with one of my oldest friends, Tristen Varney, and I think the term vet is sort of like setting us up because you're not. I don't know. Isn't vet after service? Isn't that when people...
you say vet is like after military service, and then
whereas you're still in the army,
like combat zone. Yeah, I'm still in the army. Have been deployed to a combat situation, combat environment, whatever you want to say. But you're also, you're Rhett, the hobo.
Yep.
But you're not homeless.
Yeah, I sort of am a vet of homelessness. But you're still in the army, and you actually just returned from a 9-month deployment, and I didn't see you for a while. You just sort of like showed up, pretty much by surprise, almost to my door the other day.
Yeah, it was impulse decision to call you right there. I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Just noticed I was in the area of a place where I know you have lived before. Decided to give you a call.
You didn't even know that I was there currently, right?
Yeah, it wasn't 100%. Kind of had a little gut feeling though. You ever have a feeling like he might be around there about anything? So I kind of was like, yeah, I might as well, I'll give a little call real quick and see what's up because I didn't mind driving if you weren't over here. And to my gracious surprise, you were in the exact spot I was hoping you would be.
Yeah. I was drawing pictures of you, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Why haven't I seen these yet?
Oh, well, they're way too graphic to show you.
Oh.
They're for me. They're of you, but they're for me, Tristen. Don't get mistaken.
Selfish.
But yeah, so, man, it's like I'm just finally starting to get used to having you back, but when you first returned back, it was just fucking surreal, honestly.
It was extremely surreal. It's fucking a lot of emotions at once, honestly. Like, it was really fun. It was a really good time seeing you. And it's like seeing my brother after. I didn't even get to see you as much as I wanted to before I left, and then I didn't see you for a whole 9 months on top of that.
Yeah, even a little more than that, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, probably about closer to 10.
Right.
Almost.
Yeah, I guess not that much more, but felt like a while. But yeah, I mean, just to give a little bit of context, me and Tristen we've known each other since we were like 12 and 13.
Yeah.
I'm just a year younger than him. Met at the bus stop for Russell Middle School, and we became like really close, and especially me not really being close to my siblings at all, I really found like brotherhood and so certain kids that we knew back then, like Tristen, who's now my podcast host, and just still a super close friend, and then an old friend, Dakota, who we should have on the show at some point. But yeah, we just have a really special, close relationship, and yeah. So it was just kind of funny how, like, when you came back, I've been wanting to do podcasts for a long time. You know, I really like podcasts, and I've even, like, had some really shitty podcasts before. But I don't know, I was just super lazy with it for a long time, and I just couldn't find the drive to really start one up again. And I think a lot of it's just nerves, especially since our podcast, we plan to have guests, and I've always wanted guests to be on a podcast, which is kind of daunting. But, like, you were the one that actually brought it up to me. You were like, you know, I still love to do a podcast sometime, because you and I did one, like, a long time ago. That didn't even end up working out because of technical shit. But yeah, here we are.
I remember being a little bit inspired by your podcast before, and I was like, that's a really cool idea, you know, talk. And then I thought about more while I was gone. I was like, man, like, I would really love to do a podcast and kind of voice my opinion on a lot of, like, situations going on, you know, globally, even when it's something as little as sports or more political. I feel like there's a lot that, I'm trying to think of the word, can be gained, I suppose, from being able to voice my opinion, kind of spread some positivity throughout, and voice my opinion and try to connect with some people. And I was like, a podcast is a good way to do it. So if you had never done that original podcast, I probably would have never, like, thought of the idea. So it actually was inspiring to me that you've done it before.
That's awesome, yeah. Even though the podcast didn't go anywhere, we ended up, like, I love that it gave you the idea and you thought about it, you know, while you were away.
Yeah, the idea stuck. Even if the show didn't, the idea did.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to do the same things that you're talking about with this show. You know, that's, I love the idea of, like, expressing ourselves, our ideas and stuff. You know, I pretty much gave up blogging because that's why I wanted to blog in the first place. I mean, part of it was I wanted some, you know, extra writing practice besides, like, screenwriting and stuff. I wanted something more consistent and more consistently challenging, but I just didn't like blogging. I just didn't like the format of that, and I don't know, I'm just a fucking talker, I guess. And I love having someone to bounce it off of. That's especially why it's great to have a co-host. But even better is that we're gonna bring guests on this show. You know, because, like, I mean, we're just two young guys, and, like, you know, we know some stuff, but we don't know that much.
Yeah.
But a big part of the show, especially, at least for me, I'll just speak for myself, is that I really want to learn and solidify my opinions on certain things, and, you know, just, like, make my, you know, gain new ideas and stuff. And the best way to do that is we're going to bring guests of all types in our show. Like, I'm really excited for this podcast because we're going to have, you know, really intellectual guests, and we'll pick their brain, and, you know, we'll bounce ideas off each other, and maybe even get into some debates and stuff like that. But we're gonna be doing this, like, weekly as much as possible. So we're gonna have enough episodes to where there's always gonna be something for someone.
Yes,
you know?
Definitely. This podcast, I really hope I want to reach a, you know, very broad population of people. I'm not trying to focus on a specific demographic because I think that we'll have a lot of content that can reach multiple listeners.
So yeah, Tristen, you know, we've kind of introduced the show. I just want to kind of ask you now, like, what have the past 9 months really been like for you? Obviously, you and I have talked about this behind the scenes a little bit, but it's like every time I ask you about this, I always learn something different. You know, you have different stories of when you were, like, I don't know, you just, so many different things. Like, why don't you first give some context and kind of explain what you were doing while you were deployed?
February 19th, 2018. We began deployment, flew all the way to Germany. It was so extremely fucking cold in Germany. It was terrible because it was definitely in the negatives. I actually found out it was one of the coldest, harshest winters they've had in Germany in recent years.
Oh, really? So it's not even always like that? Like...
No, they said it was actually way worse than it usually is, and it's usually pretty cold regardless. So the fact that it was worse than usual made it a lot more difficult to bear because we were our main focus out there was a lot of riot control training. So we go out there with the shield, baton, a full kit of riot gear, and we would stand outside and learn this, like, the formations and the techniques and tactics to controlling a riot, which is super interesting because not a lot of people, especially in the military, it's a really uncommon job. You know, it's not like a specific MOS where, where you sign up to control riots. You know, I've signed up to do something completely different. So the opportunity was extremely unique, and I ended up getting frostbite out there considering it was so cold. And
Oh,
a
you
lot
did?
of us- Just a little bit. Some
Like
people
first degree frostbite?
yeah, like it wasn't bad, but other people got pretty much way worse because it was so cold. Our first day out in the field training exercise, which is it was a 10-day exercise where we had like a little tent, like a camp set up, which was to represent like our actual base, and we would drive out of there and go to these like actually staged and made towns that were in the field, and we would stop riots, or we would just recon the town, notice like, okay, they're setting up these barricades, or they have like pallets and stuff like that. Like that's a symbol that they may want to riot later. So it was like learning like not only like what people would do in the situation, kind of recognize like the signs, the precursors to a riot. It was like, okay, now these people are throwing rocks, which would be snowballs or paper or something to represent the rocks. They're throwing at each other. What do we do in this situation? So after 10 days out there battling the cold, because we would get out and we'd stand out there for hours holding up this shield, which is so much heavier than you would think it is.
Really?
It's ridiculously heavy. And I think it's just because it weighs on your arm and just wears it down. You hold it up like for a few minutes, you're like, okay, it's fine. But when you're holding nothing up for an hour, 2 hours, it sucks. I'm just like, I want to put this down.
Wow.
From there, we finished the trip, or the field exercise. We got to visit Dachau in Germany, which was
really?
Super cool experience because
A lot of people go there and like claim they feel, weird things. Like I like maybe not even like a supernatural, thing. I especially don't really believe in that sort of thing. But a lot of people go there and just feel like a weird energy, or just like they get depressed or something.
It is a depressing vibe, like, because you walk in there and you're like, hundreds of thousands of people were killed in this place, and you're just like, wow, because especially in like they had their barracks basically that housed them, and you walk in there and it feels especially cold, like colder than the outside.
Wow.
It's weird. Like it shouldn't feel colder, but it does. Like, it's like a harsh breeze on your skin. It's just a weird feeling, and then you go to like the furnace rooms and the gas chambers, and you're like, it's just really, really weird feeling.
Just like haunting.
It really is. You're just like, this is messed up. Because it literally has the sign that says showers, but it obviously wasn't a shower, it was the chamber.
Oh my god, dude, what the fuck?
And I was like, this is like you've seen the movie The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, like, that stuff actually happened.
Yeah, I actually still haven't seen that movie, which is ridiculous. I definitely need to.
Definitely check it out. I haven't seen it in years. It's a sad one, but it's really good one.
I have read like certain like anti-war books from that time though. Like my favorite, which is barely even an anti-war book, called Slaughterhouse-Five. Mm-hmm. That one is like it definitely still went in depth about like some shit that happened, and so yeah, it's like I've been kind of like put in the perspective of that shit before, and definitely it haunts me thinking about going there. Like, Jesus Christ.
Actually visiting is like, wow, like that's crazy. They have some crazy murals in there. It's like, wow, it's a weird vibe. It's not pleasant.
No.
We got to.
It'd be kind of weird if you found that pleasant.
Pretty fun.
You're like, oh yes, what a vacation.
But the other hand to that is that we got to walk throughout it's in Munich. Walk around Munich and try and find a restaurant to eat at and stuff like that. So it was super cool just to kind of get a Munich experience. I rode a bus. Dude actually was like, let us ride the bus for free, knowing that we were kind of like lost. He's like, oh, you're trying to get to this place over here? Yeah, I'll just give it to you for free, get on. Got on the bus for free, got to kind of meet some German people a little bit. They don't really speak any English. I mean, they do because they learn it in schools, but it's not great compared to like, talking to an American or whatever. And luckily,
talking to an American.
Luckily, we also had somebody who was actually stationed in Germany previously with us, and we actually picked up on some German. They took us to a little restaurant. It was weird because it's a hotel, but the restaurant's built into it. It's actually a lot of places out there. And you go in there, and the waitress is wearing like a quilt kind of thing, like super old style. They had some really good food.
What if she just doesn't know that they're in the modern era? Like, what if nobody told her?
She thinks that's the time.
Yeah.
The time period. Be pretty bizarre.
I mean, I could see that they're trying to keep up a certain aesthetic for the restaurant and hotel.
Mhm.
You know, there's like a certain vibe around there. Like
Oh, yeah.
like you know, you walk in there and you feel like you're back in 1940. You know.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It was super cool. It was really, really cool experience to be able to kind of see Munich for what it looks like. You know, it's a pretty clean place. It's a pretty calming area. Like just walking around, and I was like, this is nice. Like, I can see why people like to live here. Like, it's really, really cool. It's clean. There's not trash anywhere on the ground and stuff, or at least a lot less than you see in other places. It was a cool experience. And after the 3 weeks we spent in Germany, total, we went to Kosovo, which is like its own territory. Used to be part of Serbia, but the people who live there are predominantly Albanian.
Is Kosovo where you were like stationed and you spent most of your time like working?
9 months there.
Okay.
So from there, it's basically a peacekeeping mission. You're trying to keep peace between like the Serbian nation and the Albanian nation, and trying to just grow I'm trying to think of the word, relations, develop like positive relations with them while you're out there. So we would do a lot of just like presence patrols to show like we're in the area, and we do patrols with the Kosovo border police to along the Serbian and Albanian borders to kind of stop smuggling and to authenticate and legitimize the police to help them. Like, if the police catch a smuggler or somebody doing something illegal, it shows that like they're capable. So that's a huge thing, is like authenticating them to stand up their own government.
Yeah,
But also at the same time we're doing missions with like the Serbian armed forces, patrolling the ABL, saying like, hey, like the Serbians also protect the boundary, and Americans support them as well.
So how did the civilians, how are they aware that you guys were like helping them? Like, what were some things you guys were doing that kind of showed the public that that you were like helping them out, that you're you know, for them, you know?
So naturally the Albanians are they're pretty fond of the Americans and soldiers especially, but especially Americans, you know, because in the 90s the Kosovo Albanians of the country, they really look to Americans as like we're the ones who kind of gave them their freedom and all that, so they're like extremely appreciative and grateful of us. The Serbians, more of the older generations of people, are not a huge fan of Americans. However, the younger generations are starting to come around, and it comes with the territory, the missions we do, especially with like, say we catch somebody smuggling alcohol, because my platoon actually did this. My platoon specifically caught some smugglers smuggling over 10,000 euro worth of alcohol.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're actually the only ones that catch people while we're out there, especially a bus like that huge. It was a pretty big deal. And what it does is when you catch people smuggling like alcohol or regular goods, the people who are receiving those goods can sell it for a lot lower rate than the legitimate businessman. So now this legitimate businessman is going out of business because he can't compete price-wise with the guy who's doing it illegally.
Oh, yeah. And that just hurts the economy naturally.
Yeah, it's bad. So what it does is it strengthens the economy. And now this businessman and his family and his friends are all appreciative. They're all grateful that we've done this.
Yeah.
And since we did a lot of work in the Serbian areas of Kosovo, they kind of recognize like, hey, the economy is starting to pick up now. You know, these guys
probably makes the papers even and shit like that.
Oh yeah, of course. Like these guys are, really helping authenticate our business as well as, everything else that we're doing in the country. So they become grateful. They become more friendly. You kind of see it. They start waving to you more when you drive by and smiling and stuff like that. So
yeah, you're like a local hero.
Yeah. So, and the commander and our first sergeant, the higher ups, they actually get to go into the town more frequently and talk to them and sit down at their coffee shops and drink, and they get people coming up to them saying thank you and stuff like that. So you do start to see a difference over there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and those kind of missions are important, to show that like, hey, Americans aren't dicks, like, and we don't want war, and
yeah,
I'm really glad the military is and doing these kinds of things too, because like the media sort of like portrays the military as like, we're just going out and fucking shit up and like not making our relations worse with other countries and shit, but I'm especially, I can't stress enough how glad I am that you were going on a peacekeeping mission and you're not going out into like, you know, Afghan and like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know what's going on out there either. I think a lot of it's probably peacekeeping and like, and more or
It's
less
a lot
like,
safer in Kosovo, that's for sure.
yeah, that makes sense. Like in Afghan, they're more like police, to my understanding. You know, like running tanks around, like trying to, you know, like look for bombs and random shit like that. Like I don't know.
It's actually a lot of different missions that go on in Afghanistan. Like some people do like supporting like diplomatic VIPs and stuff like that, and transporting them place to place and like being their guard for them.
Which is probably pretty dangerous to some extent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
especially if they're like targeted.
Yeah, and it depends on the area. Like I know the last deployment before Kosovo, they did it. They went to Kabul, Afghanistan, which is the capital, and that's what they did over there. But they were actually pretty much safe the whole time because Kabul wasn't not nearly as bad as the other places in Afghanistan, like Kandahar or anything like that. So they didn't actually take any contact, except for I think one time one platoon took contact. But like you were saying about the peacekeeping and like the military getting involved globally, I think it is really good because it shows pretty much, especially the European Union, like, hey, America is involved in keeping Europe stable and improving the relationship for every country over there. Not just like, hey, we want your oil or whatever people may think, and they're invading these Middle Eastern countries. Like, it's more, the military is more than just that. So I think it's a good way to kind of set a global picture.
Yeah.
A positive one.
Damn right. I'm happy about that.
What?
Mostly, again, I'm just happy that you're safe. Selfish as that is.
No
so like
worries.
I mean, I guess to before moving on and stuff, just kind of like how would you summarize the past 9 months? Like I know it was like pretty tough and it must be pretty crazy like being home now and stuff. You're probably still adapting to being back.
Yeah.
You know.
Luckily for me, the adjustment wasn't insane. It wasn't super dramatic, especially because, like I said, while I was gone, I got to take a week vacation to Barcelona in Spain, which was a lot of fun. So I was able to blow off a lot of steam out there because that was like a month and a half before I came back.
Sounds like you did a lot of drinking in Barcelona too.
Most definitely. Most definitely. But it definitely was a good reset to kind of, get a lot of the wildness out before going back to the States and like calm down. That ran out the last month and a half of missions and was able to get back kind of on a high note. But the last time I went summarized, I'd say like it was a lot of work. It was because you're always on call doing a lot of stuff, and it was tiring. But at the end, I did learn a lot about kind of myself and my relationship. We did a whole 9 months together, my girlfriend and I. We did it together but separated, so that's pretty freaking cool. And a shout out to her. I think I was able to improve my physical health out there. Definitely got to go to the gym and kind of set good habits. So there's a lot out there that I benefited from, even though I hated being away for so long. It definitely had its positives.
What happened to you emotionally being out there, like, you know, away from family, away from friends, and just kind of doing this, like, having this whole different lifestyle? Like, I'm really curious, like, were there ever any nights where, like, it really got to you? Like, did you ever have a night, if you don't mind me asking, was there ever a night where you're just, like, laying in bed and just want to, like, cry and just get upset about being away? Like, did that ever happen? Or do you just kind of, like, are you kind of systemized to a point when you're in that lifestyle?
It's pretty easy to roll up the punches over there, especially because a lot of the people I work with are like some of my best, closest friends now. Even before that, like my friend Kyle or my friend Harry, you know, I've gotten really close to a couple of dudes. So you're going through it with other people who are also, who might be missing more than I am. So it makes it easier being with all those people, being with those guys. The adjustment was relatively quick. Especially because the time, especially for the first few months, seemed like it was flying by. You know, I was like, holy crap, we're already 3 months done with this deployment. You know, it was going by fast. I think there was one night I got pretty upset, but it's just because it was just a weird night. Like, we ended up just as a group of people, like the lower level people I work with, we kind of just ended up getting into like a lot of trouble and just kind of going through a lot of like physical corrective action, I guess would be the term. Basically, just a lot of physical exercise. It was just frustrating because I felt like, okay, they're just doing this because they have nothing else to do. It's 9 o'clock at night, and we're doing they're making us run sprints and circles, laps, not repeatedly. And I was like, it's just like a stress reliever for them. It was just, it's hard to explain, but I think that was the most frustrating time.
What did you guys do to quote unquote deserve that?
Yeah, I guess they told us it was a combination of just little fuck ups that people would do. I don't want to seem cocky, but I didn't have any fuck ups. I was good the entire way through, but it was just kind of like some of the younger dudes not being punctual or not maintaining discipline in situations they should have their discipline, not getting too much into it. Just it's just little things, and they the higher up above us got sick of it and was felt like that was the only way to fix it. I 110% disagree with the methods, but I don't get to choose.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I went to my room that night and I was just mad as fuck. I was like, fuck this. These guys have way too much time on their hands. We've been here for too long. Everyone's just trying to find shit to occupy themselves. It's
interesting. So there's a lot of different dynamics at play, a lot of moving parts.
Definitely. I know I've been pretty vague about it, but it's just some shit keep it at work, or whatever.
Right.
But, yeah.
It is interesting though, yeah.
Luckily though, I was able to have a sit down later with the NCO, the main specific NCO. We were able to talk about what happened. He was actually able to sit down, hear me out, and listen to why I thought he was wrong and stuff like that.
Did you approach him on this? How did he know to talk to you?
This was actually a little bit later. There are three of us. It was an E5, E6, and me, E4, and we're all sitting down just talking, and just conversation led into another because we were cool. We were all talking, joking, and it just kind of became okay, we're talking about this now. We started talking about it. I was telling him about how he kind of went too far with it. That I was like, if you don't. One of the things that they're having us do is we're running laps around the camp, and he's like, every time one person doesn't finish the lap, or with the rest of the group, that it doesn't count, and it doesn't count as one, and you have to do 10. And I was like, if a dude can't finish it on lap 1, why is he going to be able to finish it on lap 15? That doesn't make sense. And he was able to hear me out, and so next time we kind of ran into an incident, he took my words of advice into consideration, and we kind of worked on things together to improve how we go about stuff.
Yeah, that almost seems that seems like kind of a sadistic thing. At least partly, that doesn't just seem about the discipline. Yeah, it seems almost I just want to see these kids run or something.
It really is like that sometimes. They'll deny it, of course, but at that. I mean,
there's a good possibility they got bored too.
Exactly.
I almost feel like there's a slight implication of it.
And yeah, it's not a big deal. That was back in June or July. We're way past that, so no, I'm trying to look forward, not backwards. So there's that.
Definitely.
But yeah, that was all the way back in June, beginning of June. I think about it.
Well, so that's kind of what your 9 months looked like. You were working, you were on call. They could it could be 8 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night, and they could call you in to go do something if they needed you.
Yeah, and that happened a few times. Okay, it's 10 o'clock at night, and they're like, oh God, there may be a riot out there right now, which is extremely rare because there had not been a riot since 2011. Went out there at midnight, drove out to the midway point between our camp and the next camp north, which is where the area switches between a Kosovo area into the Serbian territory. And they had been setting up roadblocks. They had blocked the road off completely. And that was just pretty crazy because everyone's there's not going to be a riot before we went in there. And it wasn't a full on riot, but the dudes did have Molotov cocktails ready near them or in the makings for them. They had completely blocked the road off. And so there's stuff.
What were they
that.
doing, these guys?
They were protesting because one of the Serbian senators was not allowed in Kosovo. He went to Kosovo, and then the Kosovo police raided the building he was in with like flashbangs and smoke, and like their SWAT came in and arrested him.
Oh wow.
So they were pretty upset that he wasn't allowed in the country, which they feel like it should be a Serbian country regardless. So to not let the Serbian senator in is like they felt disrespected by it. That was at the very beginning of deployment. So it was things like that. Later on, the Serbian president decided he wanted to come to Kosovo, so we instantly got thrown on call, had to go watch this bridge and wait for him to see like when he comes in and where he goes, stuff like that. So it was just kind of random because you're like chilling, like I'm okay, I want to lay down, go to bed, or talk to somebody. Like get the fuck ready right now, like we gotta go, and it's just like, well, it comes with the territory.
Yeah,
it's a job.
It's interesting.
It sucks, but...
It's definitely a different kind of job, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. But it has its pluses as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty financially secure for a long time.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, definitely.
You learned a lot of discipline and stuff. Like, I remember, man, I will never forget, like, I think it was probably the second to last time I saw you when, you know, we did, like, some acid right before you went to the, right before you joined the Army.
Yeah.
So... I mean, we can get into that story if we want to, but maybe maybe that's for a different episode. I don't know.
Who knows?
But yeah, so it was definitely like it's definitely not all acid. It was probably a research chemical that was like a mimic of acid. So yeah, we were tripping way too long, way too hard, but in a different way. And yeah, I just remember like, yeah, that's gonna be a whole different story. There's probably gonna be like a more psychedelic themed podcast or whatever with somebody else. But
of course.
Yeah, all I was gonna say about that is,
a roller coaster, though.
yeah, it was a crazy roller coaster filled with insanity and like just I don't know, a lot of problems. Bad,
super bizarre.
Wasn't a good group. Just a really, really bad time most of the time. But I remember coming back and like, you know, it sort of ended with a lot of like, I don't know, the conversations went from like absolute terror on both of our parts, mainly on yours, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It went from that to like at the end of the day, you know, you were like more ready to join the Army than ever and more on your terms than ever. Before that, it was mostly, you know, you were going just because of your parents, I feel like.
Yeah, that's definitely a good part.
But at that point, we were like talking about how the big theme was like you want to be your own man. And oddly, the Army, even though like boot camp kind of like drills out your individuality for a good period. Mm-hmm. Like in the end, you were right when you thought it would help you. It would actually help you become your own man a little more. You're going out on your own. You're responsible for your own shit. You know.
Yeah.
You really got to take care of yourself, even though there's somebody barking orders at you.
Yeah, I feel like at work there's, a level to like, you get told what to do, but everything is still on your own. It's still like your choice to listen and do the right thing or the wrong thing, and my off-duty hours, I'm completely in control of myself, but I'm able to do it responsibly and as an adult. You know, I'm out there. I've bought my own car by myself. It's almost paid off now. You know, I have my own place. It's given to me, my own place, but I take care of it like I would. You know.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm a lot more responsible of a person. I think I'm more respectful as a person. You know, I remember being in high school, like, trying to just do random pranks and jokes and stuff and realizing, just thinking it was funny, not realizing how much I was inconveniencing other people and stuff like that. So I can kind of have a more respect for the general population. Yeah.
Also, just for yourself too. I mean, because like we talked a little bit before about like how just as odd as it is when you don't have time pressure, you know, when you have like all the free time in the world, you end up like most of the time not using it well, like especially in high school when you're immature and like not doing much shit. Like, you know, I remember like, you know, we were just smoking way too much weed. And we had tons of free time. I mean, we had jobs and, you know, at times we had school or whatever, but even when we had like, you know, full on days with no time pressure, we just like no obligations. We just like didn't do shit. We did less than we do now.
Completely unproductive.
Yeah, it's like now, you know, we both work and we have our own like personal priorities and stuff.
Yeah.
But even with the free time that we have that we could use for anything, nowadays we use it for more productive stuff, you know. I mean, I can just tell we're starting to round out as people.
Definitely, I
You
think
know?
kind of branching off into like where we're kind of stuff that we feel like we should be doing in life.
Yeah, like when you were in the army, for example, and you were you know, and you didn't have as much free time as like you do now, or obviously before that. How did you notice like did you notice a change in how you were spending your free time, like when you were off duty?
Yeah, especially more now. I think in my free time, I try to make it more meaningful. I try to spend it with, before I would kind of blow people off and like play video games and stuff like that. Now I try to find people I'm close to and spend that time with them, make it more meaningful. And I go out and do more adventurous stuff, especially with my girlfriend. We go out and like, I've seen so many places in Colorado that I should have already seen living here for as long as I have. I've gone out to Helen Hunt Falls or Red Rock Canyon or the Paint Mines, Red Rocks for a concert finally.
The amphitheater.
Which is amazing, by the way. I love that place.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I spend more time actually out and enjoying life and enjoying it with people I really care about than I did before. And I feel like I try and do other stuff more productive to my well-being. Like, okay, I find time to go to the gym. I find time to, like I said, hang out with people to go see a movie now and then rather than just, like, stay inside and watch Netflix, Little things just kind of make life worth living, It's the one life we have, so just kind of make it more special, I feel like.
I feel like, we keep saying I feel like. I think
True.
that in this day and age, especially, with all these distractions that we have through technology and mainly technology, I guess, and like media and stuff, it's easier than ever to live a meaningless life.
Definitely.
And especially since like drugs are so accessible now. Like I know that for a long time, especially being kind of like in the past even more so, like kind of a depressed guy and stuff, like
Right.
I would just like fall in these like month long bouts of just like meaning, like purposeless living. I would just like I would work most of the time, but then I would come home and just smoke weed and do nothing, like isolate myself, especially. And I don't know, especially like in this last year even, I had a really odd last year, obviously.
Yeah, I definitely like to hear about that.
Yeah, I mean, I had a really odd last year, and there was like a good portion of it where I was just I got back like smoking weed and newly drinking a lot. And yeah, it's just like it became so easy just to like smoke weed and drink, not think about stuff, and just watch Netflix and movies and whatever, play video games. Like it's so dangerous, to like that you're able to do that so easily. And I don't know, the biggest danger I guess is like that you could definitely regret all that lost time. Like there are still times I get irrationally anxious about the times that I've wasted.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm just happy I am where I am now. Things are going good.
And that's the best thing is to look forward. You don't want to look back and regret too much. You can look back and learn from it. I feel like that is super beneficial. Like that's what I want to do different now, to continue to do different in the future, rather than look back and get down on yourself about it, because that's gonna lead to more unproductivity.
Yeah. I think a simple way of looking at it is like, you should obviously like live presently, because if you're focusing too much on the future, then that's where you really build like that irrational anxiety where you're worrying about stuff. I really like the sort of I forget exactly like the phrasing how it is in like the Buddhist culture, but there's this sort of saying that involves basically like, if you like there's definitely like reasons sometimes to like like let's say you're worried about getting to the airport like the next day. Yeah, you want to run through everything that you're gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to wake up at 3 a.m. because my flight's at 5. I'm gonna have to drive to the airport, and I'm gonna have to go through security. That could take this amount of time, and checking my bags and this and this and this. Yeah, it's like that's probably worth running through your head one time. Like you want to prepare. You want to prepare for your survival.
You don't want to go into it blindly.
Yeah, because then you could fail. So it's like, yeah, you want to run through it once, maybe twice if you don't have it all down. But once you run through it the 17th time in your head, then you're making a mistake.
You're no longer productive to yourself and improving what your base is. You
Yeah,
know?
you're putting yourself through this irrational pain. You know, you're just anxious. You're worrying about it. It's like, it's not helping you.
Yeah, exactly. And my girlfriend tells me all the time when I get nervous and anxious and stuff about it, she's like, stop thinking about it, 'cause there's nothing you can do about it now. Just relax and enjoy yourself.
Yeah,
So,
it's like if you and if you can't even satisfy that, I mean, first I'd recommend like, you know, meditating and like really just trying to get in the present, because if you do, you'll probably realize the best thing that you can do is focus on now. But if you still are like, if there's still something nagging at you, telling you like something's not right, you're not doing what you need to be doing, then, you know, try a few different approaches, analyze, you know, like what's really going on, and ultimately what can I do right now to better things.
yeah,
you know?
I feel like that is such a super impactful way to look at your life in a positive.
Yeah, I mean, I had problems for a long time, and I still struggle with this. This is why like I have to meditate every morning, and I have to like really, because I have to like really try to stay present, because I am such an anxious guy, and I'll give you screenwriting for example. So, you know, screenwriting is the main thing I want to do as a career, and definitely something I need to focus on. Good?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. But screenwriting is something that I want to focus on as my career, and I want to, you know, master it. But there are times, like, especially in the past, where you know, I'd go, like, hours, and I'd feel anguish for hours and hours about, like, you know, I'm not where I'm at, like, and I want to be successful one day, and I want people to like my work, and mainly I want to like my work, and all these, like, really painful thoughts are going through my head. When in the end and right now, it's like I'm doing my best just when I like get in the habit of writing every day, and I just focus right now on writing. You know, it's like I wake up every morning.
Out a little bit.
Yeah, I wake up every morning and I do my morning routine, and then I start writing, because then I'm free the rest of the day. I'm like, yeah, you know, I did what I had to do today to like meet my ultimate goal of like mastering screenwriting. You know, I just gotta like
And
keep doing it.
has like time blocking helped you with that?
Yeah. I'm actually glad you brought up time blocking. We can circle back to like the whole like, you know, anxieties, the future, and depression is like dwelling in the past thing later. But
Of course.
But like with time blocking, this has been huge for me. So as I said, I'm a really anxious guy, and I'm like but with that, I'm also just like really I have problems with motivation. And because of this, maybe I'm a little biased in saying this, but I don't think people in general should rely off their motivation. I think it's a fickle thing to rely off of to get all your shit done. Because like you're gonna wake up some days and not be motivated, and especially if you're someone like me who's probably low on serotonin and shit like that, you're gonna wake up most days feeling unmotivated. Like unmotivated to like get out of bed and really like get after everything. So what I try to do is, you know, rely more off of habit and my health to get everything done. So habit's the big thing that I'm learning right now. I'm about to read a book called The Power of Habit that was actually that I actually heard about because of another great podcast called College Info Geek, and these guys were breaking it down a little for me, and I did some more extensive research about it afterwards. But I'm just sort of learning that like that with habit, you know, you gotta like let me break it down a little bit. You know, we're definitely habitual creatures, and the way that you form a habit is consistency. And so what I've been doing is like I'm keeping a very strict wake up time. My bedtime isn't strict every night because like certain things happen, but I make sure I wake up at 5 a.m. every day, so that way I can get everything done. That's every non-work priority done in the morning. That way, after work, if I don't feel like doing anything, like maybe I had a really shitty day at work or something, I can just relax and have the rest of the day to myself.
Right, you don't want to have to, you know, go from like a stressful day to like, great, now I had to work on this stuff I had planned out for myself. You know, like you were saying, motivation's going to be completely killed. So I feel like if you can knock it out, at least in a positive way every morning, you can start every day. You can start it in a positive mindset. Yeah,
you know, and how you begin the day is really important. That's why I would recommend to people at least have a morning routine. You know, I can understand if people don't want to, you know, schedule out their whole day. Because like for me, for example, I used to do that. I used to try to time block every part of my day, and it was just a little too robotic for me. So what ended up working for me Yeah, this is how I'm gonna better put it, because I'm not an expert on the subject, so I'm just gonna explain what's worked for me.
Yeah, of course.
But so like what I used to do is, again, time block every single part of my day. But now what I do is I just have a nice strict morning routine. I wake up at 5 a.m., sometimes like 6 on the weekends, sometimes even 7 on the weekends. Like this morning, I think I woke up at 7:30. But on regular days, I wake up at 5 a.m. and I immediately roll out of bed and do yoga. And then right after that, I meditate. And those are like the very two important things I do in the morning.
Yeah.
Because that sets the tone for the rest of my day. Like I've already kind of like shown myself internally that like, yeah, I care about my body. I feel like nice and limber and like stretched out for the day. And then I meditate to kind of do the same thing to my mind. Like, I increase my awareness, and I don't know. I just feel better. Like that's all I can. It's hard to explain the benefits of meditation to somebody, especially if they never have. If you do meditate, then you probably get it. But meditation just kind of like.
One day if we have Jan on the show, she meditates a lot, so she can definitely help speak on that subject.
Yeah, Janet being his girlfriend, by the way, for the listeners. But
yeah, she's super huge into it. She's been trying to get me into it on more than one occasion.
It's really hard to get someone to meditate, and it's not something you could force on somebody, obviously.
Yeah, I want to try it. I just want to know what to do.
Yeah.
And we always seem to place our time together doing other things, so we haven't found time for it yet. But hopefully, definitely within the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to come back to you and kind of speak on my experience of it. So.
It's a good idea. We should have a little kind of side segment where we see how Tristen's journey through mindfulness is working out. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so that's really important. And then right after I do yoga and I meditate, I instantly write. I used to write at night, but I just didn't have the energy for it after a while, especially since I work during the day and the evening. So I learned that if I get up early, I can at least write at least for an hour or two every morning. And if I write an hour or two every morning, then I feel good at the end of the day. Eventually, as my habits get... Because the thing about habits is that, the more consistent you get and the longer you do it, the easier those habits are to perform.
Yeah. I think I read somewhere it takes one whole week to really start a habit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I think 3 weeks is when it's you're fully into the habit or something.
It's kind of it's the same with exercise. It's when you exercise the first day, it's you're probably going to feel great that first day, and then the second day you're going to feel like shit because you're all sore and stuff. But as you do it more and more and more,
it's exactly like that.
It's not to say that the exercises will get easier. I mean, yeah, you'll get stronger and it'll be easier to move your body in certain ways. But I mean, just psychologically speaking, you'll
have it developed. It's a thing you feel like you should be doing.
Yeah, exactly. You wake up every day and you subconsciously or unconsciously kind of know oh yeah, I'm going to work out at some point today. At least at some point I'm going to raise my heart rate because it's good for me. It makes me feel good. That's what meditation is like for me now. It used to be really hard for me to get into to do it every day. But once I started realizing this is another thing I'm going to have to make into a habit, it became easier, especially with time consistency. And so ironically,
getting up early to meditate, I feel like that can be rough because meditation is peaceful, calming. So I imagine getting up early, especially when you first started, you're already tired, and now you start trying to meditate.
You feel like you're gonna fall. That's exactly why I do yoga first.
Okay.
Literally, that's the reason, because I did have meditation because at first just idealistically, I guess I thought I should meditate. Should roll out of bed and start meditating right away because that'll really set the tone for the day. Mindfulness, be in the moment, and make all my choices from a clear perspective. But I would literally be sitting there falling asleep. So yoga, because I wanted that to be part of the morning routine anyway. So just flipping that, this is still I'm still perfecting the time blocking thing, and it'll probably just get better and better. But that's one big thing I learned is that do that yoga first, because that's your first cup of coffee is you do your yoga. And you feel energized, your body's all stretched out, and you just feel more ready, you feel physically ready. So then you need to almost be a little bit physically ready before you are mentally ready to meditate.
Yeah, of course.
Because again, you'll fall asleep, or you'll just be fuck this.
And yoga can help get that heart rate up a little bit, help get your muscles relaxed, get your body awake.
Warmed up. Yep.
Yeah. So now when your body is awake, you can kind of focus more on
exactly
stuff. So yeah, that makes
and then
sense.
after both those things, so the most appealing thing about meditation to me is that no matter what state that I seem to be in, and not everybody can rely off of this, meditation is said to not be a results thing. It's it's more of an accumulative thing. You may not get anything out of your 5, 10 minute, 20-minute meditation, like you might not feel any benefit afterwards, or like, it's something that kind of like where you get results over time, like you just become a more balanced person, your perspective's clearer. But I can say from me doing it right in the morning, I do notice some clear results. Like after I do yoga and I meditate, I just have a much clearer perspective. Like there have been some times, I fucked up, something happened in the morning and I've missed both my meditation and my yoga, and I found that I was just like less conscious throughout the day, and I felt more overwhelmed. Like I know it sounds like I don't know, maybe a little weird, like maybe you want to be skeptical of it, but
No, I believe you. 100%.
Yeah,
like,
but
it's just kind of like a stigma, like a mental aspect to your thing. Like if you're instantly thrown off, like right at your morning routine, the thing that kind of clears you out for the day. Now you're not getting that, so it kind of sets a tone for the day, like being thrown off.
Yeah, it does kind of specifically, like, sometimes it makes me, an unhealthy thing about habits is, like, if you, or, like, a mindset that I had with that is when I missed my yoga, my meditation, I think I did kind of let myself think, oh, well, this day is kind of fucked up. I fucked it all up.
Yeah.
And so the rest of the day I felt like, kind of like things were messy. And I think that was going to happen regardless, but I shouldn't have added this, like, this irrational mindset, this idea that I fucked up my whole day because of that,
One thing. Yeah.
It's like if I really needed that meditation, I should have just like taken a 10 at work and meditated for 5 minutes, and I would have been fine.
Yeah. Of course,
so it's like, and so that's the thing with the habits. I've noticed that if you miss one day with something, like if you don't write for a day, or you don't do your yoga or your meditation, or maybe you work out or whatever, if you miss it one day, you're oftentimes fine. Like you're going to be able to get right back on that habit train the next day, but it's that second mistake that seems to throw it all away. Yeah. It's really weird. Like it's like with waking up, that's the best example I have, is that like, I'll wake up at 5 a.m. every day, and first day it sucks, second day it sucks, and then after a little bit it starts getting a lot easier.
Yeah. Like,
and I'm tired.
To doing this.
But then, like, let's say I go out with friends one night and there's no chance I'm getting to bed by 10 to midnight. And I end up and I have the next day off, so I sleep in till 9 a.m. That's fine for one day.
Yeah.
But if I do it a second or even a third day, it's like the habit. It's like I'm back to scratch. It's it's literally like that. It's so crazy. So yeah, I mean,
I feel the exact same way when it comes to like working out. Like,
yep.
I cannot let myself miss like 2 days in a row unless I've like planned on missing 2 days, or like Saturday and Sunday. Even so, I still try to go on Saturdays, but if I know if I miss 2 days during the week, like I'm kind of done. I'm not gonna like keep myself up to it. So I've managed to not miss 2 days in a row for a while. I'll miss one day, but I'm like, if I miss two, that's kind of where I like lose all, like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. So
yeah, I think it's a hard truth to swallow, but this is how habits kind of seem to work. I know we're pretty much just anecdotally speaking here, but there's probably some objective like science to it, or something.
There has to be. I'll probably look into it at some point in time.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm about to read this book. I'm really excited for it. Then I'll be able to really break it all down, and right now I'm still just anecdotal with a little bit of research, but yeah, I mean, soon I'll really know more about it.
Definitely. Now, you said we're gonna circle back.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, yeah. So I mean, this kind of originally got started because we were talking about
anxiety.
It's like how it's a mistake to look too much towards the future and worry about it. Not to like.
And also too much into the past.
Yeah.
Which I think is I think it's a good piece of advice that everybody can at least get a little bit from. Even if you don't agree with 100%, you can kind of at least level with you and me and kind of see where we're coming from on that, Like, I think one big thing, like I was saying, like, you don't want to look too far into the past and get hung up on the past, because that sets your mindset for the present, and now you cannot prepare for the future, and you're kind of just on a slippery slope. It's a snowball effect.
Yeah.
If I fucked up on something in the past, I found myself constantly, especially in free time, dwelling on past mistakes. Even if it's something this morning, I can't look at, oh man, that pissed me off this morning, now the whole day is going to be bad. It's like you were saying with missing your meditation or yoga, you cannot look at, a bad week or a bad day or a bad 20 minutes and let that affect you for the next week or the next day.
You can't keep dwelling on it, Like, you can definitely learn from that past mistake and go, you know, I don't like when that happens, and if I do this too much, it will accumulate to be something bad for me as a whole. But you know, doing this once, doing this twice, it's helping me learn.
So you learn from missing your yoga and meditation session in the morning.
Like, I learned that. And with writing, I learned how important it is for me to do this every day. Like I learned that, you know, this is something that I do, and even though it's like even though it takes some discipline, it's gonna ultimately help me be more free. You know, and so like, and so I'm not gonna dwell on the fact that I'll miss a day here and there. Life fucking happens, you know, and this isn't just with this comparison that we're using with me and my yoga, but this is like
anything.
This is for anything.
So much, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like this is just something that, you know, happens to you or happens to me. Like, well, you know, but you can relay it to anything else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're a track runner, you run track. And one day you get third place, but you're used to getting first. You cannot let that affect you continuously. And say you get third on a 100-meter dash, and then an hour you got a 200-meter dash. You cannot let getting third place affect you on this 200-meter dash.
Yeah, but I think it's worth getting a little bit introspective and you know, confronting those feelings. Like you go like, wait, why did it hurt so much that I got third? Because I wanted first.
Yeah.
You know, because I really wanted to win. So it's worth using that.
Yeah,
I would say.
You can use that as motivation to improve yourself.
Yeah, and just like, you know, from there, you can turn that into specific goals and stuff. You go, okay, you know what? This guy probably trained harder than me, so I'm gonna make sure that I get up a little bit earlier, so I have a little bit longer to run every morning.
Yeah,
or I have
even if it's just 10 more minutes. So you do 10 more minutes for 5 days. It's 50 more minutes of training in a week.
There you go. So it's like you have to look at like Yeah, so it is worth confronting that and looking at yourself for a bit.
You can't just blow it off that, I got third, like whatever. Like, you don't want to do that.
That's just apathy. You know, like pretending your feelings don't exist, pretending that you're competitive
you're
in nature.
You're only hurting yourself in that situation.
Yeah. I apply that logic to like my writing, because like there is some slight competitive stuff to writing, but it's mostly this art form, and I'm really just trying to compete with myself, get better and better and better at writing, because like, and I'm really honest with myself now. When I write something that's shit, I know it, but I don't dwell on it. What I'm getting a lot better at is like going, you know what, I need to just, like right now my focus is increasing my overall volume. Like there was months I wasn't writing at all, so right now I'm working on this, you know, consistency. I'm writing every day. My minimum is for an hour, but the nice thing is, as I'm doing it more and more every day, kind of going back to the habit stuff, it's getting easier to write another hour, because because like it's really, as I'm doing it every day, there's like there's something psychologically happening where I'm learning more and more. I'm internalizing how important it is to me that I'm doing this every day. I'm like, you know, I understand why I'm doing this, why I'm working so much harder than I ever was before. So, like same with the running, you know, if they start running every day a lot more, it'll become clear to them, like, you know, I really want to win. I really want to win, and so that's why I'm putting in all the blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, and then that's also the point of looking into the future now, is you don't look too far in the future. You know, you're not looking for like, okay, if I don't write every day, I'm not going to be able to write a Hollywood movie. I'm not going to write Avengers 5.
Did I tell you that a big thing in Hollywood is a big, like, I don't know, it's funny, like before I ever heard about this, I literally would tell people that if I haven't made a movie, if I haven't sold a script by the time I'm 30, I'm gonna kill myself. But as I've like gone more into like as I've understood the culture more, and I'm on subreddits for screenwriting and film, and I've just like I've just gone more into the culture of it in general. I've realized that everybody says that. Literally like 30. People always say, like, if I haven't made a film by the time I'm 30, there's like, it's like 25 is the biological age where people like are like, you know, maybe I do want kids, or I don't know, they start thinking about like, I should have my shit together by the time I'm 25. But what's so weird, like, I don't know why, but just culturally with film, it's like, yep, you better have a film by the time you're 30, or else you're old and you don't get to, you're not.
That's where people kind of look at the point of no return. It's like 30 years old.
It's ridiculous though.
and that applies to so much. So like, 30 is such a weird age, because that applies to athletes and stuff like that across the world. You think like, okay, this running back in the NFL just turned 30. You expect him to be slower. You expect him to be weaker. Just
I feel like there is some truth to it athletically, though.
oh yeah,
I
that
think
definitely is. But like, it's just kind of a stigma. Like 30 is like when you apply it to screenwriting, or if you were to apply it to acting. Okay, I haven't made anything of myself as an actor. Now I'm 30. It's kind of almost too late now. I'm kind of falling behind the pack.
But it's so hilarious that it's just so blatantly applied to screen, like that logic.
To
so
screenwriting.
yeah, it doesn't make any
that's
sense.
something you told yourself, and now everybody else, or so many other people are saying the same
but
thing.
it's funny because it's so dead wrong. Like the learning curve is so much different. Like, you know, there's an athletic prime, but then there's like this ridiculously long learning curve to things like writing and like acting and screenwriting. Like these skills. Like I like to use comedy as an analogy or as a comparison because the stand-up comedy learning curve, like as I've studied it a little bit, it seems like one of the most craziest ones. Like
really?
Stand-up comics, they don't hit their prime until they're like mid 40s to 50s, like middle age. Stand-up comics hit their prime. Yeah, because they've lived. They've really lived
They have that life experience.
Yeah, dude, like so
provide.
I like to use Louis C.K. He's a controversial character now because of things that happened, but you can't doubt the guy's skills and just how good he got. But the funny thing is, for a long time he was like he was a really good abstract comedian, but he didn't have like the depth or like something about his humor that just wasn't like funny enough yet or like relatable or something, and he just didn't like take off for a long time. And then he had kids, and keep in mind he's like in his 40s by this point. Like he's probably like 45 or 40 when he had kids, and then like they start growing up, and then he started like adding like this material to his sets, like, you know, about his kids, and suddenly he's just like the funniest fucking guy in the world.
He's added that life experience that can level with so many people that can find it hilarious.
Yeah, and this goes the same for a lot of comedians. Like,
without a doubt.
Yeah, so it's just funny how that kind of works, and with screenwriting, it's the same kind of thing. Quentin Tarantino, he made his best movies when he got a little older. Aaron Sorkin wrote his best movies when, I mean, he started late, so it's kind of hard to say, but he definitely was like writing his best shit when he was like 35 and up. So
like you're saying, life experience, you know, plays into that as well.
Exactly. I'm finding that right now with the bare amount of life experience that I've had, like I'm only 19 and I'm still just trying to figure shit out. Again, this is podcasts. Another selfish reason I want to do it is to learn some shit and gain some of that life experience.
Especially when we have a guest in later episodes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Definitely get another perspective on a whole lot of material.
Exactly. I mean, but yeah, it's like where I'm finding right now, like I don't want to get too much into what I'm writing. I feel uncomfortable like talking about what I'm writing because I feel like it'll just get away from me, and I've already like when you talk about something you kind of like that you're doing privately and that's like important to you. When you talk about it too much, then you've already kind of done it psychologically, and it's easier to give up on.
Yeah,
you know, and I don't plan to give it up. But this thing that I'm writing right now, this series, I guess you could say, it's like it's interesting because as I'm writing it, I'm learning some shit about myself. I'm learning that like one of the underlying themes of the show has a lot of young people is what I'll say about it, and I'm learning that right now, like my best writing, my best ideas kind of come out of the fact that I don't understand much about life, and nobody my age understands much about life. And even as you get older, nobody really knows what's going on. But but I'm still trying to make something meaningful or something beautiful out of what's going on. And that's kind of a theme to the show.
Yeah,
it's like
that's definitely a relatable theme, especially to people our age, where now you have characters showing kind of the theme of that show. And I don't want you to spill too much of it, but now you have relatable characters. I'm assuming the characters kind of have the same mental and the perspective that you're describing, at least some of them.
Sort of. The theme is manifested in a different way. Okay. I mean, I'm just gonna sound so vague. I'm like, yeah, so these themes, not gonna say anything about it, but it's super profound.
Super profound. It's deep. It's deeper than anything you've ever thought.
Just trust me.
Like, dig a deep hole and make it deeper. That's how deep this is.
It's so deep. Seriously.
It is extremely deep.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. But that's awesome. Like, I'm excited to kind of see the final project of that now. Like,
thanks, man. Yeah, you're honestly what I'm gonna start doing with screenwriting is like after I finish like a draft or two, I'm gonna start letting like a select few people, like anywhere from like 3 to 10 people read it, and then, you know, like before I jump back and do like a second or third draft, I do want to have fresh eyes see it. Yeah, like my process has definitely like evolved over time, and like I do everything a little different, but that's one new thing I want to do. I want to just have a few people read it, because I made the mistake before of like only having like one person read it before, like a long time
just
ago.
Get one opinion.
Yeah, and especially since it was like a biased opinion. Like I remember like showing like an ex something that I wrote, and you know, my ex is gonna tell me like, "You're brilliant. This is amazing. You're brilliant. Like, man, you should just sell this. This is great." And then what I learned from it, actually, I showed it to my friend Gabriel, who we're gonna have on the show at some point.
Nice.
I showed him it, and he's like, "Hey man, this is like really underdeveloped. Like, you're not good yet. In fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this script in a separate Google Doc, and I'm just gonna focus on the negatives and write notes the entire way through, and show you what you did wrong."
That's really constructive criticism. Even though it's negative, it's gonna benefit you a lot more.
Yeah.
Than, oh, it's amazing when it's not.
Yeah, because like the one or two people I showed before, it was like literally like my ex and her mom, and Gabe, he told me straight away, he's like, "I'm sure everybody else already told you you're brilliant and this and that," and he was so right, because those two people I showed were just like, "This is great, no notes."
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
Constructive.
And I was too insecure, especially before that, I was too insecure to like show more than like, I was too insecure to show somebody something and get like objective feedback. Like I just kind of wanted to hear what I wanted to hear, you know?
Yeah, of course, and I think that's an issue a lot of people run into.
Especially, yeah, creatively, it's like, you know, you don't want people to be objective. But with something like screenwriting, especially, it's such a it's a lot more like structural, and like the problems that you have in a script are much more obvious than like a novel. Like in a novel, you know, you could have like run-on sentences, and you can have really stream of consciousness type stuff, but like in a script, somebody like Gabe, for example, he's not a screenwriter, he's not a film buff, he doesn't really know what he's talking about in a lot of this stuff, but he would like read pages and go, "Dude, like these pages just don't make sense." In fact, the best advice that I've gotten as a screenwriter has been like stuff like that, has been like, "Dude, this scene doesn't make sense," or "This doesn't add anything." It's like it's funny, the extremely specific stuff, like the excessively specific, is the least productive. When someone goes, "Hey, you know what, I think you should add like this kind of song to this scene, or else it doesn't really do it for me." It's like, okay, it's overly subjective. Like you're just telling me like what kind of song that you think would go here, and it won't be good without it. Like I've literally had weird notes like that, but Gabe gave me these notes like, "Yeah, you know, like this whole scene is unnecessary." Like I remember this one specifically. He's like, "We don't need to know these characters. The scene doesn't add anything. You should just tell. You should do." It was like a setup scene, and he's like, "You should set this up just differently. Like you're going on for pages and pages of meaningless dialogue, and it's not even entertaining." It's like, he's like, "If this added something, then yeah, you should keep it, but it doesn't."
It doesn't. So it's almost like you're wasting now. Like if it was put on screen, you would be wasting the audience's time.
Exactly, and I've learned that there's a term for that, because like all screenwriters go through this. They have to kind of evolve and learn to what they call cut your darlings or whatever. It's something like that. Like you have to or kill your darlings, I want to say. It's like, yeah, you know, like some of these pages, some of these sentences, some of these characters, some of these fucking acts were darling to you. You wanted to keep them, but sorry, they suck. They don't add something.
Yeah.
You got to get rid of it for the overall script.
Of course.
You know, there's like you have to have a more ultimate mindset of like quality when you write that sort of thing. So yeah. It's like, I need really obvious, I guess the thing is, yeah, when I'm picking people, I want honest criticism, but I want overall encouragement, because they're also, because like, yeah, there's a lot of people that I know would probably give me mostly honest criticism, but if they're not ultimately encouraging, like if they're like, "Yeah, you know, this all just sucks. This all just sucks, and you should stop." Like if somebody tells me like it all sucks and it really does, then I'll be like, "Yeah, man, then I need to get back to the drawing board and like and start from scratch a little bit maybe." But if it's just somebody that's just like, "Yeah, you know, like you should just like not tell this story. This is stupid. You know, I don't believe in this. Neither should you." Then I don't want someone like that reading it. You know?
Yeah, of course. That's like, that doesn't help you at all. It's like I said, constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Because negative can be constructive. You know, does that sound right? Like, I don't want to say it's negative criticism. It's just criticism. Negative criticism probably would more be like, "Yeah, you shouldn't."
Yeah. I feel like that's more accurate, because like,
yeah.
I mean, because like, you know, criticism is just pointing out the error. is pointing out the errors in something, and it's like,
Yeah, just constructive criticism overall.
yeah.
And I definitely do like to read your stuff. I remember reading something that you wrote before. I think it was on your blog. It was like these two men were dragging somebody through the woods. Does it sound familiar? Taking him to his death.
Oh man, let's not talk too much about this because this is actually kind of what I'm writing now.
Oh,
so
okay.
I took, okay, it's way different, but I took that concept.
Okay.
And I'm rewriting it and I'm turning it into a series because that's like the way the story should be told. But yeah, that was.
I won't bring up any more. But
No,
I
it's fine.
remember reading that and I did enjoy it a lot. So.
Thanks. Yeah, man. I look back at that original draft though, and I'm like, this is garbage. That's how I feel about anything that I've written.
Really.
Yeah. So it's like
I
can't dwell on it.
Much, you've improved because I actually remember I did like it. I only skimmed it though. I didn't get a full read into it because I think it was 10 pages. Or about.
I think it was more than that even. It might have been like, I think it was like 26.
Oh god. Well, yeah, that's probably why I skimmed through it. But I remember it's like, oh yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, like a lot of people read that and like not bragging, because seriously, it's like fucking junk to me now. But like a lot of people read that and they were like, yeah, this is like your best work so far. It's like it's very vivid and
I definitely felt
the
really
characters are
to
cool.
The characters, so.
Yeah, and like they're like, I like the twist at the end and this and that. But it's like, man, now I just look at it as just mistakes. Like it's seriously like there's so much wrong with it and I'm way more honest with it now. It's especially interesting to talk about it as I'm rewriting it to be completely different. But like I'm really honest with myself now, and I'm approaching it with I don't know, way more like analytically. Like I'm looking at the problems and really trying to solve them honestly. Not again killing my darlings. I'm not holding on to shit that shouldn't be.
Yeah, it doesn't provide anything.
Exactly.
For the advancement.
I kind of dragged on about my screenwriting for a bit. Thank you for letting me self-indulge. I'm just.
it was definitely fun to hear.
I'm honestly I'm super excited to be.
I'm excited to hear and to read and eventually see the products that
that's
evolve.
That's the big dream. Is like just making something to be on some sort of screen out there. I don't know.
I hope. Yeah. I'm here to support you all the way, bud.
Thanks, man. I mean, yeah,
I fucking love you.
Really, I love you too, man. Seriously, but I had a really tough last year, and like, wow. Okay, man, I love you too.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to kiss real quick?
Yeah.
Well, after, but let's kiss after. Okay.
Fine.
Yeah, but just
give me away.
I'm just super excited, I guess, to like be doing well now, and I don't mean to like be boasting or anything. I'm not
even boasting.
I'm not even. Yeah, I'm like nowhere near where I want to eventually be. I'm at a point where I'm sometimes I only write for an hour a day. I want to get back to writing for 4 hours a day and studying but right now I'm just happy that I am studying every day and I'm reading. So I'm getting more educated. I'm reading. I'm studying. I'm breaking down films. I don't know. I just feel more myself than ever.
It overall seems like you're in a really positive state of mind. Right
yeah.
now, so.
Yes. I feel free because I've become disciplined. I don't know. It's just a really good feeling. But
discipline really does kind of put a different mindset on you. I feel like.
Yeah. Well, see, like I don't know. There's a big misconception about discipline that you'll be robotic if you do time blocking or if you.
Yeah, and it's not like that. It's
no.
Just
it's actually
keep yourself true to yourself.
I keep saying it. I'll sound like a broken record, but I'll say it again. That discipline, time blocking, making deliberately forming habits that you want to form. This stuff is freeing. Again, it's like
it's a way to make you the best Jew you could be.
Yeah, and there's nothing more psychologically freeing than feeling like you did a good day's work. You were productive today. It's like it's hard for me to sit down and play video games at the end of the day or watch a movie or bullshit, jack off even if I haven't gone if I didn't do what I needed to do. Like I feel guilt free is the best way to put it when I've already done what I need to do. You know, and discipline, waking up a little bit earlier, forming these deliberate habits to ensure that I do everything I need to do in the morning, and then I go to work and I make the money I need to pay the bills. I get home and the goal is I still have some energy as I increase my health and reduce my caffeine intake and stuff. Hopefully I have natural energy to keep going at the end of the day and maybe do a little bit more writing and then bullshit. But as of right now, I don't feel guilt by getting home some days and doing nothing but jerking off for like 7 hours.
7 hours.
That's what it's all about, baby. I'm disciplined. I write in the morning. I do yoga. I meditate. So at the end of the day, I can jack off for 6 or 7 hours.
That's really productive.
But anyway,
that's how you make yourself feel good.
I've been talking about my shit. I want to ask you about
just to piggyback on it real quick. Is just like to interject, I suppose, toot my own horn.
Yeah.
Or my own butt.
Okay.
So stupid. I'm sorry. So stupid. Anyways,
that was a nice joke there.
It was terrible. Regardless, in high school, playing football, we had like probably the worst coach in the entire world. Fucking terrible. But he did say something all day that kind of stuck. Was win the day was kind of his motto. It was the mental he kind of tried to give the team is that he wants you to be able at the end of the night to look at yourself in the mirror and be able to tell yourself that you won the day, that you made yourself better that day. So I feel like the time blocking and the self-discipline really keeps you on that course that when you lay down at night you can feel peaceful about yourself and be like, I made myself better. So when you look at the mirror, you can be proud of who you are. Be proud of who you are.
No,
proud of who I am.
That's so true though. It's so true though. I don't know why you gotta put a weird voice on it.
It's from a movie.
Oh.
What Hot American Summer. He's like, be proud of who you are.
Oh, okay.
That's a joke we made a lot in Kosovo, so it just came to mind. But yeah, you should be able to look at yourself and be proud of yourself. So just to carry on that real quick.
No, yeah, that's great.
To not interrupt you anymore, continue.
No, it's fine. All I was gonna do was I was tired of hearing myself talk. I wanted to hear about your aspirations. Okay. Because like you've done that disciplining thing for a while. It's almost the theme of the podcast now. But you've kind of done a lot of your dirty work, and you're not done with the Army, but
no.
But you're gonna be done with it, and you're gonna get this. Is it the pension? I guess you'll basically get a check every month.
Yeah. So
I don't know what that's called. I guess.
Okay, I can work with you on it. Basically, when I get out of the Army, I've got 100% access to GI Bill, which it pays for my schooling, so I could go pretty much any school I want, and it'll be covered or almost totally covered. And on top of that, I get a paycheck every month while I'm going to school, and the paycheck is the BAH for whatever rank I get out as. BAH is basic allowance for housing in the Army. So if I'm married, I get about, as an E4, which I am now, probably get about like $2,000 and some change a month extra to pay for living expenses, to pay for housing. So I would be making that paycheck on top of them paying for my school without even having to go to work.
So you do have to go to school then?
Yes, I have to go to school.
Okay. So people who know shit about the military, please don't get mad at me for being ignorant about how the fuck it works. I knew there was some sort of money he could get, so I'm sorry.
That's not even
ignorant. But my point was, you've done this dirty work, and you've set yourself up to be pretty financially secure for a while. Mm-hmm. You paved a short career, but what comes after, and what are you excited about?
Okay, so I've kind of talked about this a little bit with some people, but so, I'm dating Janet or whatever. We've been
Janet's
together.
lovely, by the way, everybody. I met her once. I wish I could meet her again. She's wonderful. I loved her. I'm so happy that you have her.
Thank you, especially seeing where we've come from in life, relationship-wise. Having her in my life has just been so positive since she's come into my life, for hopefully to stay. Basically, I'm sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. Where we go?
Yeah, love does that.
It really does. I can't stop thinking about her. Anyways, she's going to school right now. What the biggest aspiration, the goal, and it's not 100% attainable. Like, this isn't a for sure thing, but this is kind of what we want. It's kind of like a dream goal kind of thing. Is that she's applying for a scholarship. It's kind of like a scholarship, and what it does is it pays for her to go anywhere in the world and study her theme of choice for an entire year. So, like, the goal is we're trying to hopefully, like, get her. First of all, she has to apply for a scholarship and get it, and we're trying to have her apply for either like New Zealand or Australia, whichever one she likes her chances at more, whichever one she feels that she can get better research out of. And if she does get the scholarship, sorry, like the volume spiked up a lot on that. If she does get the scholarship, she wants to, they'll fly out there and pay for her expenses. And she graduates, I think, 2020. And then she won't start that until like the year 2021, hopefully. We're trying to time it right. So I'll be getting out of the Army kind of January 2021. So the time frame is pretty close. They kind of fit with each other. And what it does is I'm hoping to save up enough money to go out with her to wherever she is and kind of bum off her for a little bit, kind of work and just experience another country while she does her research and spend that time together.
What are some ideas of where she wants to go?
Definitely the top two are probably New Zealand or Australia. She has to go somewhere where she speaks the language. And so they speak English, and those are extremely cool places already.
Oh, yeah.
And she's been telling me for a while now about how she wants to visit Australia. Another aspiration of ours is we really want to travel and see the world together. It's like I told you, I've been to Spain, and after that, I've honestly considered possibly, maybe I should re-enlist for Germany so I can live in Europe and travel Europe and stuff like that and get to experience it all. Probably not gonna happen. I just might do that on my own.
Yeah, there's other ways to do it.
Mm-hmm. Not just that. It's definitely don't want to work in Germany after that cold winter I went through.
Yeah.
So. But that's an aspiration. So she's always telling me how she wants to go to Australia so bad because she wants to see the Great Barrier Reef, especially because it's dying. So I think it's already 70% depleted.
Really?
It's extremely disappointing, and it's almost like nothing we can do about it because it's not just pollution destroying the Great Barrier Reef, it's also just like climate
nature
change itself.
taking its course.
Yeah, so it's so sad.
It's just sinking, right?
I don't know the exact thing that's happening to it. Janet can tell you everything about it.
It's slowly exploding. Actually, it's
is that what it is? Exploding. No. It's like a volcano. But yeah, so she just really wants to see that. I've always wanted to go to Australia. I think I've told you that before.
Yeah.
It's like the dream place.
It's always been it's always been both of our rather almost it's always been in my top three
yeah, me too.
Place. There's just so much to do. There's there's a really cool city or two. Mm-hmm. There's great surfing, cool beaches, cool people.
Yeah.
Of course, all the fucking wildlife that could kill you at any second. That's thrilling.
I know. I want to go fight a kangaroo.
Yeah, that's the main thing, right?
Motherfucker.
Box him up.
Throw hands, bitch. Gotcha. But yeah, that and New Zealand would be super cool. So those are, I think, the top two she's aiming for, which would be super super cool. So, like I said, that's it's a little bit of a stretch, it's a little bit out there. But if not, if that doesn't happen, that's not the case. We're not going to be disappointed. But well, that's fine. There's other things we can go on to with our life. But basically, aspiration-wise, I'm just looking to finish on my contract on a high note. I'm definitely trying to get promoted to sergeant. I'm E4, sergeant's E5, so I'm relatively close to it now. I'm not in a rush for it, though. I definitely want to end that out on a high note, be positive. I want to do the most I can with the job, get the most experience out of it. I know a lot of people look at their jobs, they're like, oh, I'm getting out of the Army soon, or I'm going to be quitting this job soon, why do I care about it? But while you're doing it, especially in the Army, that's what puts the food in my mouth, kind of keeps me stable. I need to pay it back as best I can and work hard for it. But
especially in a tough job, you got to kind of live in the present and
mm-hmm.
respect what you're doing, or else how are you going to respect yourself if you committed to this? You know what I mean? If you put yourself in this position, you're going to act like it sucks the entire time, you're not going to take any pride in it,
then
you're not going to enjoy any of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, a lot of the Army I am not fond of at all, and I hate it. I'm excited to eventually get out here in a couple of years, but I do have a lot of pride in the job and what it does, and what it's done for me so far. So, as much as I like to complain, and as easy it is to complain, there's days where I sit down, I'm like, well, you know what? If I didn't have the Army, I probably would not have my girlfriend, I would not be financially stable, I wouldn't have the self-discipline that I do. So there's a lot of good that's come out of it, I think.
And you're still so young. It's
mm-hmm.
Man. there's so much to do. Like, do you ever think about like personal like achievements you want to get some? I mean, it's not like you have to either. I'm just curious. Like, I know at times you've talked about like maybe like, you know, writing yourselves. Like you've even talked about you've talked about really cool stuff like writing for video games and stuff like that.
So definitely was gonna actually kind of get into that on my own. I want to go to school as soon as I get out. I'm not even entirely sure for what. I've definitely always been, like you, fond of writing. Hopefully there's a lot I can learn from you when it comes to screenwriting, especially now you've been doing it pretty consistently. I hope you can teach me some stuff here. I can pick up on some stuff.
Especially if we start making skits together, then you can see the whole process. Because skits are, I think, awesome. Like technical writing stuff. Like you learn really quickly how to format scripts and stuff, and you think fun. In that way. Yeah, and it's fun.
Yeah, I've always just been intrigued with writing and reading, even writing my own book. There's been video games I'm always like, that would be a cool video game, or, that would be a cool segment to video game if that was written. So I've always been intrigued by the writing and the dynamic of it. There's just a lot of things that are super cool. I feel like every other fucking week I want to do something different with my life. Like there's like a day or two where I was like, I should be a flight attendant. Why? Just to travel.
Just to travel, yeah.
So like
it's exciting, but also like daunting. Like there's so many paths you could take.
Yeah, exactly.
And that could change your entire life forever.
Yeah. You remember when I wanted to be a firefighter for like 3 weeks? Like
yeah.
There's so much to do in life, and I think I brought that up like the first time I tripped shrooms when I was talking to you. There's like so much that can go on. I don't even know where to go. I felt kind of lost.
It's like one of the first realizations almost that I see with a lot of people with psychedelics. Like their minds just like explode of possibilities. They're like, oh wait a minute, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Like
what do I do? It's almost overwhelming.
Exactly.
Because you're like, wow.
A much different but also like slightly similar sort of realization that just comes to mind is like I remember with Cole, one of the first times he tripped, he said he like it's really stereotypical almost, but we were all just like sitting together, having like weird conversations, thinking we're way smarter than we are because we're tripping, and he's like, oh my fucking god, and we're like, what? And Cole's like he's like a pretty like calm, he's a pretty to himself guy.
Yeah,
he's mostly a listener too, like groups could talk for hours and he'll just maybe add a counterpoint once in a while, but he out of nowhere just came out with this unheard enthusiasm from Cole, and he goes, I just realized that like we can do whatever we want. And we're like, and we're starting to go the other way, like how we're talking about it now. He's like, no, I mean like all this shit that's illegal, like all these fences that you're not supposed to cross, we could cross them. Like he was like saying shit like this.
It's so funny.
Yeah, but
it's not wrong. Like
no.
At the end of the day, every decision you make is on your own entirely, and you can do whatever you want, whether or not you should do it.
Yeah. But that actually is a good analogy too, because like you do have to there's always paths you can take in life, but you should also factor in like your skills, and like
like
how likely you are.
And rewire houses. I might set one on fire, so maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah,
but
like my mind does not work that way. Or maybe a more clear one is like I could try my very hardest to be an NBA player. I could practice every single day, 5 hours a day, the rest of my life, and I'll probably never be in the NBA because I'm like a 5'10" white guy who hasn't played basketball previously.
Not to discourage any 5'10" white males who want.
But you're probably not going to make it. I'm sorry. What do you want me to say?
I definitely say the odds are stacked against you, but I don't want to crush somebody's dreams either. Like
it's
if
true,
that's what you want to do, like.
I mean, because somebody's
work
gonna.
As hard as you can, you never know. You might be that one that does achieve it. So.
Because somebody's gonna say the same thing to me about screenwriting. You know what I mean? Like, because it's so competitive.
Yeah, man. Like, you're not gonna make it.
Yeah, it's like I just heard a statistic, or I watched this like screenwriting masterclass that was made by Film Courage on YouTube. I really recommend it to anybody who's trying to write screenplays or he's even slightly curious. I forget the guy's name, but he's written a lot of movies and stuff, and he's one of like the most active current or contemporary screenwriters. And I think I read that like 75 out of like 20,000 scripts a year are made.
Wow.
Maybe it's even more than that. Like 75 out of like even more than that. But it was at least like that. And it's like, wow, that's a lot of scripts not being made. A lot of probably really good ones too. So it's like, it's competitive. You have to
Maybe
kind
if
of...
you make 20,000 scripts, you might have 75 made, though.
No, Tristan's... This is why we work well together, Tristan. You have the mind, you know. I've got the, I've got something. I don't know what.
But you got it.
I got it.
You definitely do.
I do, right?
You have it. Whatever it is, you fucking have it.
Yeah, I got the
I fucking like it. I've heard a lot.
But yeah, but the point being, you know, I do think you should have dreams and stuff, I guess. And I wasn't trying to crush anybody's. It's just...
I don't think you did.
No.
I don't think there's many 5'10" white guys
Who really think they're going to make it.
I'm going to make it to the NBA. That's my dream. I'm gonna pack LeBron James. It's going to happen. Steph who?
He's going to shit his pants whenever I hit the fucking court.
I'm dunking on Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
It's happening, I swear.
Can you touch rim, Tristan?
No.
I can touch it. I can sometimes grab it. So I don't know. Maybe I got a shot. I don't know.
I've gotten close. I got a whole bottom of the net.
Oh wow.
No, I get made away on the net.
Fucking hardcore, bro.
Shaw.
What really got me like back into video games of all types was Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Playing that, just the fucking difficulty, and yeah, just like how much it challenged me and stuff. It was I don't know. There was a lot of reasons why it like brought back my interest in gaming, but yeah, it was just like it was super fucking cool.
Why did you start playing Dark Souls? Like, just somebody recommended it, or?
Well, yeah. So when I was you know, I told you a little bit before about like, yeah, this last year was kind of crazy, and then what finally kind of helped me get out of this depression was I moved into this house for 2 months because my friend let me stay in his room while he went on a trip to Europe, and suddenly I was in this awesome room, or this awesome house with a bunch of awesome people. And Cole had an Xbox, and this other guy, Brad, he bought Dark Souls for it, and he started playing it. And at first I was like, oh, this just looks like a really punishing game that's like whatever, you know, and it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of like Skyrim, and it's not like Skyrim. Nothing like Skyrim at all.
People have a tendency to compare those.
Yeah, but it's so stupid to compare them.
100% different.
Yeah, whole different thing. But yeah, I was like, whatever. I was kind of ignorant towards it, kind of like that though. I was like, I've already played Skyrim, so whatever.
Yeah.
Dumb shit. But then I started to notice like, I don't know, I was like watching it, and it was just like I see like how hard it is. But then finally he like hands me the controller. He's like, why don't you like make a save and try it? And I started playing it, and like it took me like 3 hours to get to what now takes me like 5 minutes probably.
Really?
Like that's how weird the learning curve is.
I
just didn't know how, and like it felt so technical and so weird. I've just never played a game with that type of like just that type of combat and like the kind of style. Like it's a game that literally starts you out, like once you get past like the tutorial of sorts, you get to this like stage, and you can either go up, down, or down, and there's like a few different ways you can go down, but like it doesn't tell you which way is the right way to go. You just like start, and you have to kind of like figure it out, like through process of elimination. Like you go down, and I know that, you know, if you don't see it, you can't really understand exactly what I mean, but you can go down this path, and you realize like this is way too fucking hard, and you go down maybe a different path down, like a different side path in that direction, and it's too fucking hard. You go up, and it's like, oh yeah, this feels more like the
way you should be going.
Yeah, and there's been more in-depth analyses of how they, you know, the creators made the game so that you kind of know where to go. Like there's like weird psychology, like you go up and I don't know. I honestly can't even explain it in this kind of format. Like you need to see a video. I did see one though where this guy was explaining it. It's really cool, but
okay.
But anyway, definitely over-explaining shit. Probably cut that out. But anyway, but yeah, so like with Dark Souls, yeah, my friend had me start playing it, and I was still kind of getting out of this depression. I was still getting sober. Oh yeah, I'll mention to the audience that, you know, I've been sober for I think over a month now. I haven't actually checked, but yeah, I stopped alcohol. I stopped weed. I still am super interested in drugs. I love some of the things drugs have done for me, but yeah, I just
taking any.
What's that?
That's at the time you're not taking any.
Yeah, I'm not taking any at least until I turn 21, which is in a little over a year from now. But even then, I don't think I'm gonna do recreational drug use anymore. It's just not part of who I am anymore and what I want to do. But we'll get into that at a different time. But yeah, Dark Souls. There's like there's probably a lot of analogous ways I could explain like what Dark Souls did for me, like what the difficulty meant for me, and I don't know. But the main thing that I'll point out is that Dark Souls had this sort of dynamic where it was incredibly fucking hard, and you were just dying constantly, and you get super frustrated, and it never felt like you were gonna win. And then you finally get past this thing because you figure out what you need to do. You try all these different approaches, and nothing's working. And, and you suffer a lot of pain, a lot of mental anguish in the time being, and even some physical with your thumbs hurting and shit like that. But then when you win, that victory is so sweet.
Yeah, I've heard it's super rewarding.
It's super rewarding. And I guess that's the one analogy that I'll apply to real life. I was going through such a harsh depression, and there was something very clear and beautiful about that to me, that it reminded me of life, how the
highs and lows.
Yeah, the highs and lows, but also you have to try so many approaches. If you just sit and and you use the same broken approach in life. If you sit on that, then you're just gonna keep being in pain, and you're just gonna want to quit, maybe even kill yourself or something, or quit the game in Dark Souls terms. But
yeah.
But with me, I don't know. I noticed that, when it's not working in life, you gotta try all these different approaches and just kind of keep trying, and realize that you're gonna come out to this other beautiful side. I mean, it's not like you win and then life is fine all of a sudden. You don't ever get to this greener grass and suddenly life is okay forever. But you do achieve these highs that make you go, yeah, life is worth it. And in Dark Souls, it's really interesting too to kind of give a more technical representation of it. In Dark Souls, you'll literally you'll be in the dark for so long. For example, you'll be underground, and it's dark and dreary and super hard. And then when you get past this level or whatever, you'll get to this other side that's beautiful. Maybe you're way above ground, and you see these beautiful castles and amazing sunlight cascading over you.
Just, gorgeous.
Yeah, and it's they really do that deliberately to make you go yep. It's encouraging. You want to keep going.
Yeah.
And it is the same in life in that sense. What I don't do anymore is I don't expect that I'm gonna achieve something, get to some milestone or whatever, and again suddenly my life is complete or fine, and I'm set. It's not like that. But what it does in life, when I achieve something good, I get encouraged to keep moving forward, even if it's just I meet somebody great, or I got the promotion, I know that I'm progressing, I'm very obsessed with progression, I guess, but yeah, I'm not gonna pretend to have figured it all out and stuff or whatever, with life or with Dark Souls. But there's definitely some very interesting correlations, and there's a reason why I just played Dark Souls for 2 weeks and it helped me get sober.
That's
See, I guess that's the other thing I'm leaving out. There's this legendary, or rather notorious 2-week hump you got to get over with any kind of drug almost. I mean, it's probably more with harsh drugs. I was just drinking and,
of course,
and smoking weed, but I still had a lot of physical and psychological withdrawals. So it took me a few weeks to get off of it. And what was I doing to fill in the stimulation that I was missing from the weed and the alcohol? I was playing Dark Souls, which was even more stimulating in some ways. And I just did that hours on end every day. And even though that was almost all I was doing for that 2-week period, besides work, I would work and come home and play Dark Souls, I ended up getting through that 2 weeks almost effortlessly after a few days. And then I beat Dark Souls, and I beat it in 20 hours when I actually beat it, by the way. So wow. Because it's a game that kind of encourages you to restart because you'll realize you fucked up.
Yeah.
There was a time I got 30 hours in. I'm nope, gotta restart. Terrible. Yep.
Wow.
And then I ended up beating it in 20 hours, so which is not terrible. It's not a bad time.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Especially for a Dark Souls game.
Sounds
pretty fast.
No, yeah, some guys beat it in 50 hours, and they're finally beat it.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, so I beat it, and after that, it's not I got past the hump. I knew this because I didn't feel super bad about finishing Dark Souls. I was dwelling on the fact that I was almost done because I knew I was almost done with the last boss, and I was fuck, what if I'm done with this and I have no stimulation left and I want to do drugs again. But nope, that didn't happen. I got past the hump, and actually I felt really encouraged to do something that's even more fulfilling. Because while I love video games, even if I was the best video game player in the world, it's still not what I want to do.
Right.
It's not not bashing the best video game players. I think there's a lot. There's a lot of glory in that kind of competitive thing.
Make a lot of money off it. They feel better about themselves for doing it.
Yeah. Then that's awesome. But yeah, one, I'm not gonna ever be the best video game player, and two, it's not my thing. I want to make movies and stuff, and so like I felt weirdly encouraged after I beat Dark Souls to like get back on the shit that I want to do. I just felt more like myself than ever, and yeah. So Dark Souls was oddly very impactful for me.
That's crazy. You don't hear a lot of things about video games, especially the stigma, like you were saying before, that video games are so unproductive and like the worst thing in the world almost. But,
yeah.
You know,
it was actually a very pragmatic way to get sober. I mean, it makes sense even if you just look at the fact that it's such a stimulating, challenging game. That got me through 2 weeks. Like it was something to sink my time into and just get over it, you know?
And relax and enjoy yourself and enjoy doing something. You're able to enjoy it while sober and it can keep you sober.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know if I was relaxed while playing Dark Souls.
No.
Sometimes I was like, fuck, okay, roll, and then, okay, gotta block here, fuck.
We're gonna wrap this up. I'd just like to say to anybody who listened even for just a few minutes, thanks for the support. We appreciate everything. I hope you stay with us for the next few episodes. This is The Vet signing off.
And this is the Hobo. I'm just super fucking stoked to start this again, even though there's probably just a few people listening. It feels surreal to get with easily one of my favorite people on this planet, and just to get started, you know, and it's only going to get better from here. We're going to get better at the craft itself. We're going to get better equipment. You know, we're starting out pretty ghetto here. And it's just us right now. It's only going to get better when we have guests and, you know, we add this crazy other element to it, which is like the main kind of premise of the show. You know, like we're going to have guests on and we're going to like slowly educate and stimulate and marinate in some way our young minds. So anyway.
All right.
But thanks, guys. Super happy to be here.
Sure.